They just shot. They just shot. A lot of shots. I didn't get hit. I don't think so. I'm okay. I busted my knee and my hand. Well, there's blood all over me. Did I get hit? Or is that my hand? Did I get hit? Oh, did I get hit? Did I get hit? Oh, I got hit. Okay.
Blood spilled in the streets again, and this time, it had everyone asking, how did it come to this? The name Lil Jeff already carried weight in Chi-Rock history as one of the wildest crash-outs to ever touch the trenches. But now, with his protege Q50 taking the beef global, going at it with 2 entire cities, things were spiraling way past music. By August 2025, word hit the internet like a bomb. Q50 had been shot in St. Louis. Chaos followed immediately. Somebody filmed the scene right outside the hospital. Sirens blaring, people screaming, and whispered that Q50's the one who got hit up. Rumors flew faster than bullets. Some said he'd been ambushed and left critical. Others claimed he was already gone. No official reports dropped. No police statements, just streets talking, blogs guessing, and everyone bracing for retaliation. For a moment, it felt like history repeating itself. Another rapper gone too soon in a never-ending cycle of street warfare. Q50's silence made it worse. He vanished from the internet. No posts, no updates. Fans and ops alike started to believe the rumors. Maybe he really didn't make it. But just when everyone was lighting candles and hashtags, Q50 shocked the whole internet. The very next day, he jumped on Instagram Live, laughing like nothing ever happened. With that same reckless energy he's known for, he started trolling his ops in St. Louis, yelling, "Free body, free money, like you. I've been spent that 60K. The man didn't look shot. No sling, no bandages, just a grin that screamed, "Y'all thought I was dead?" But even though Q50 walked away unscathed, his car didn't. According to Street Talk, his whip got lit up, riddled with bullets like a war scene. That's when things started to get really messy, because apparently this wasn't random, it was personal. Rumors claim Q50 had burned bridges in St. Louis after he allegedly finessed $60,000 from some heavy hitters in the city. Some say he ran off on a local promoter taking show money and dipping. Others swear he scammed a plug, selling fake meth and skipping town before anyone realized it. Either way, that $60K was the spark that lit the fuse. So when Q50 rolled back into St. Louis for a show, everyone knew. It wasn't if something was gonna happen, it was when. Word is, a crew of St. Louis hitters, known as the CTS Goons, allegedly caught wind of his arrival, spotted his ride, and opened fire. Shots rang out in the night, glass shattered, and Q50 barely made it out alive. Now, here's where the story gets even crazier. Because right after the shooting, the internet exploded with people trying to claim the hit. Dozens of crews started hinting they were behind it. But all signs pointed towards CTS Lil Wick, a name already buzzing in the underground scene.
Let's check on Q50, man. They didn't park this shit down there.
Somebody
Lil Wick
reported the
isn't your
scene outside
average
of a
rapper.
hospital.
He's a white drill artist from St. Louis who got infamous for allegedly shooting a man in the head and beating the case in court. Since then, he's been living like he's untouchable. And when word spread that Q50 had been shot, Lil Wick's homie Houdini Rel went live saying, "I ain't never popped somebody that famous before." That line alone set the internet on fire. The streets connected the dots fast. Rumors said Lil Wick was the same dude Q50 stole that 60K from. If true, that would explain everything. The hit, the timing, the motive. But when Lil Wick heard the chatter, he didn't stay quiet. He hopped on live too, denying anyone stole from him, but throwing gas on the fire with one line. "Ain't nobody take 60K from me. But yeah, I did try to take somebody out."
Body, free money, like you.
In life,
I've
that
been
cryptic
spent that
line sent
60K.
blogs spinning. And then, out of nowhere, a Chicago affiliate jumped into the mess, confirming Lil Wick's side of the story. A member from 9 to 5 Mob, a notorious Chicago set, tagged the St. Louis crew and wrote, "I love y'all on 2X grade. Y'all stood on everything y'all told me. I got something for y'all." The post was a straight-up self-snitch, and the internet dragged him for it instantly. Comments flooded in calling him dumb for dry snitching his own people. Realizing how bad it looked, the dude deleted the post. But it was too late. Screenshots had already gone viral, plastered across pages with captions like, 9 to 5 Mob confirms St. Louis shooters behind Q50 hit. Now, no one knows for sure what really went down that night in St. Louis. Was it a setup? A fake? A scare tactic? Or a failed hit that barely missed? What's clear is that Q50's enemies are stacking up from Chicago to Missouri, and the streets are watching closely to see who strikes next. Because in this world, nobody forgets. Every disrespect, every scam, every dollar finessed, it all comes back around. And for Q50, this might just be the start of a war bigger than even he can handle.
I don't think he gonna make it, but we gonna see. I ain't never popped nobody that famous before. It's my first time.
After the St. Louis rumors cooled down for a minute, Q50 came back louder than ever. And instead of letting the situation fade, he poured gasoline on it. In true reckless Q50 fashion, he dropped a brand new diss track aimed straight at the entire city of St. Louis. No subliminals, no filters, no fear. The song, titled 60K in Racks, was pure disrespect from start to finish. He opened the track with shots that set the internet ablaze.
Go get your 60 back. They ain't take 60 from me. They ain't take nothing from me, gang.
Hell yeah, bro.
They ain't take shit from me.
Let me see what's to that.
I was trying to take something from them. And life.
Long live Lil Jeff, LAX with a drac, ain't trying to eat. Get the funk out my face. St. Louis still mad I took 60K, fuck it. Next funeral, I'ma pay. The bars weren't just random talk, they were daggers. Q50 made it crystal clear he wasn't just brushing off the rumors, he was doubling down on them. He confirmed what everyone had been whispering, that he really finessed $60,000 out of St. Louis. And he didn't care who was mad about it. The disrespect didn't stop there. He went straight at CTS Lil Wick by name, mocking him and everyone who claimed to have a hand in the shooting. Q50 rapped, 60 shots, nay, I ain't got a scratch. I was posted like I'm dead, but I'm up on a jet. Would I look like letting a lame neckin from St. Louis make me a hat? He a white boy, don't be shocked when his ass gets stretched. The crowd went wild. The internet lost its mind. Q50 wasn't just igniting a beef. He was challenging an entire city. He stamped the rumors that he'd been pushing fake weight in St. Louis too, bragging about flipping 6 pounds of the soul, and laughing about the goofies who thought they were buying meth.
Shot Q50 up.
Man, we don't know nothing about nothing. They said a lot of people did that shit, man.
We did that shit, nigga.
Nah.
We did it.
They said a lot of shit about that shit. We don't know nothing about nothing.
The song was pure chaos. Every lyric felt like another bullet in a musical war that was now spilling far past rap. It didn't take long for the response to drop. Within days, CTS Lil Wick and his right-hand man Sumo Dub clapped back with a vicious diss titled Bloodhound. The track was raw, grimy, and laced with death threats. Lil Wick's voice cut through the beat like a razor. I really get through every gap. Make your Q50 raps go post up in the rack. I catch Bloodhound, don't get his lil ass cracked. It was a direct challenge. Lil Wick flipped Q50's own alias, Bloodhound, into a taunt, and dared him to step foot back in their city. The lyrics made it sound personal, not business. And just to make sure no one missed the message, they went on No Jumper and started talking about it on camera. During the interview, Sumo Dub straight up admitted that they were the ones who tried to take Q50 out. The internet exploded again. While Sumo doubled down, Lil Wick tried to play it more strategic. He told the hosts he didn't know anything about the shooting, but then smirked and said he'd been smoking Lil Jeff, referring to Q50's slain homie from Chicago.
Beasky B.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
So this not no overnight shit? Like,
Nah,
out
this
there?
ain't no just overnight internet shit. You know what I'm saying? There's more behind the shit than just what motherfuckers are called dick riding. You know, we ain't just dick riding each other on some, oh, we with them because they static with them. Nah, that's not even why we cool with them.
That comment hit deep, because Lil Jeff wasn't just anyone. He was a Bloodhound OG, the heart of Q50's movement. The disrespect didn't go unnoticed, especially since Wick admitted he had ties with Chicago's 9-5 mob, a gang that had been at war with Q50's Bloodhounds for years. That connection made everything way more dangerous. And if there was any doubt that the beef was real, a Chicago affiliate removed it. Lil Dre, a member of 9-5 mob, tagged the St. Louis hitters online and wrote, I love y'all on 2X grave. Y'all stood on everything y'all told me. I got something for y'all. The post was basically a confession, but Lil Dre got flamed for dry snitching on his own people. Within hours, he deleted it. But of course, screenshots were everywhere. The streets were now buzzing louder than ever. Bloggers, fans, and even industry insiders started calling this the St. Louis-Chicago War, warning that this wasn't just music, it was personal bloodshed waiting to happen. Q50 didn't care. He went right back on IG Live, dissing St. Louis again, laughing about how he was still walking around untouched. He bragged about patrolling through the Lou, claiming he could go anywhere without fear. But what he didn't realize was that every step he took in that city put a bigger target on his back. Because St. Louis isn't just another drill city, it's lethal. The murder rate there is higher than Chicago's. and it's full of shooters who don't care about fame, followers, or diss tracks. Disrespecting a whole city like that? That's suicide! And it's not just St. Louis where Q50 has to watch his back. Chicago's still waiting too. Fans are already worried that if he keeps hanging around the Midwest, he might not survive much longer. The man has too many enemies, too many unpaid debts, and too many egos bruised by his trolling. Q50's story didn't start in St. Louis, though. He's got deep roots in the Midwest. He was born in Chicago, but when he was still young, his family moved to Gary, Indiana, trying to escape the chaos. But even there, the streets followed. His mom's side had ties to a set known as Hit City, one of the most feared crews operating near the same area the Bloodhounds now claim. And according to those who know the family, his cousin Darius was already repping the set long before Q50 picked up a mic.
Long live my Mac, I was there.
Hey, Jug on my dead grandma for you.
I damn that shit in the tail for now. That hurt me a little bit. I was like, damn, this shit real. Long live Kenny Mac. I was there. I witnessed that. We was battle late. I think ever since then I've been. That's probably what it was. I feel like they clapped my homie.
Now the cycle is repeating, with Q50's name on everyone's tongue, the Bloodhounds in deep wars across state lines, and his enemies sharpening their aim. The only question is, can he keep taunting the world and still walk away untouched? Because if there's one thing the streets have proven time and time again, it's this. You can win the internet, but you can't outrun revenge. After Darius, Q50's cousin, tragically died in a car crash, members of Hit City started repping his name heavy.
I was 16. Around that time,
You was doing the Soldier Boy
I
and
was
shit.
trying to play basketball, but that's around the time I ain't make the varsity team. So at 16 was when I was realizing this is real. I don't know what the I'm gonna do. Cause you know, after that point, it's like once you don't make that team, it's over.
They began calling themselves Darius World, a tribute that turned into its own movement across the block. The name carried weight, not just because of loyalty, but because Darius was one of those rare ones. The type of dude whose legacy didn't fade. It multiplied. Q50's family wasn't just connected to Hit City either. They also had roots in another deadly Chicago set known as Lowlight, the same crew that allegedly played a role in taking out Lil Jojo after he famously dissed the BDs. Those ties ran deep in Q50's bloodline. Violence and reputation were part of the family tree before he was even old enough to understand what that meant. But when his family moved out of Chicago, it looked like fate had given him a second chance. For a minute, it seemed like Q50 might actually dodge the trenches. Back then, his focus wasn't on guns or gangs. It was on basketball. People who knew him in his early years said he was obsessed with the game. His grandfather even bragged online about how Q50 promised, "I'ma buy you a whip when I make it to the NBA." Those hoop dreams didn't last long, though. By the time high school came around, Q50's world started to shift. The streets had a stronger pull than any court ever could. He started fighting, literally and figuratively. When a video of Q50 scrapping in school went viral, his own mom jumped into the comments and said, "He got jumped and still ain't back down." Even back then, you could see the attitude that would define him. Fearless, stubborn, and always ready for war. He eventually graduated high school outside of Chicago, but the diploma didn't mean freedom. The streets still had him. His family ties in the city never loosened, and many of his cousins were still deep in gang life. By graduation, Q50 was already hanging heavy with Lil Jeff, his blood cousin and a rising name inside the Bloodhounds, one of Chicago's most aggressive sets. Through Lil Jeff, Q50 got connected with another dangerous clique known as MTV-079, mostly through his homie Mass Scum.
Used to hang with them. They know what they did.
So okay.
They know what they did.
So okay, the Bloodhounds. Yeah, y'all was cool.
Everybody that got a that was my homie. He stole the chain, bro. We tried like he took it. He stole my home chain.
Who was that? South J or something?
Nah, brother. One of the other guys.
This one of the other. This other one.
Folks letting him wear the J. He come back like he got into a high speed with 12. Last in, he lost it.
Scum was trying to make it in rap too, but his name blew up for a much darker reason. Back in 2023, Emma Scum and 3 of his homies allegedly went on a wild overnight crime spree that ended in the murder of an off-duty police officer named Ariana Peterson.
Caller heard 6 gunshots, witness male black wearing black clothing, shooting into a white
According to
vehicle,
police
possibly
reports,
a Toyota Camry.
They were just looking for cash, money they planned to use for something as trivial as throwing a barbecue. But the night spiraled into chaos. They allegedly robbed 3 people, stole a car, and when they spotted Ariana driving home from work, they ambushed her for her purse and jewelry. Ariana.
Hey man, get them people
They shouldn't have been trying to kick it down the line of green.
Damn.
That's it, $10, $10. That cost him his whole hustle career. Everything he worked hard for.
Who was trained and armed, fought back, firing shots from her personal weapon. But the group fired back harder. She was hit multiple times in the face and neck, dying at the scene. The killers allegedly stole her gun afterward and sold it off on the streets for quick cash. The murder shook the city, and it became one of the most talked about cases of the year. Q50 never directly claimed MTV-079, but his connections through May Scum and the Bloodhounds kept him tied to their orbit. And the Bloodhounds? They weren't just a random local set. They were a supergroup born in the early 2010s, a merger between some of Chicago's most notorious hoods.
Plus, you know my bag long. I told not to trust on you damn wrong. Oh, turn down. Suck up, burn down. I'm saying I'm like playing out. Lay the whole clan down. Leave him with his pants down.
Drill City, MTV's 79, 400 East, and Chris World. The Bloodhounds became a hybrid force. Smart, strategic, and ruthless. Most of their members came straight out of Drill City, which meant that's where the Bloodhounds really planted their flag. That hood was their kingdom, and nobody repped it harder than Lil Jeff, who became the heart and face of the Bloodhound movement. Q50 and Jeff were cousins by blood, brothers by loyalty, and soldiers by nature.
I ain't heard from that lad, man, since he crashed into that crib, man. Life got bro from life support. I say, all my pain, keep me going. Slag getting annoying. I just want to see them pull the plug.
Once they linked up for real, there was no turning back. The two started moving like a unit, putting in work, catching cases, and slowly building a reputation in the trenches. What began as survival soon turned into an identity. The more chaos they caused, the more feared they became. But Chicago politics run deep, and even alliances have expiration dates. Drill City itself wasn't always its own crew. It used to be part of a massive structure known as Lawn City, a megaset that held serious power across the South Side. But as always happens in the streets, greed and betrayal tore it apart.
Do we have a location where that person was shot?
Is that he's going to tell you Matt?
Charlie, just watch the 6 just... Oh, try please! 89, please!
10-1, 8-9 in St. Lawrence. Shots fired at the police. 8-9 in St. Lawrence. Shots fired
About
at the police.
789, please.
The split
789,
started when a few Drill City
please.
affiliates allegedly robbed some OGs from Lawn City.
And for the units on scene for the 10-1, we got another call for the 10-1 at 619 East 89th Place that a male black with a white do-rag, dark sweatshirt, standing in the doorway of the building reloading. He shot at the police. So you guys use caution for 619 East 89th Place. Is a male black reloading a gun per citizen wearing a dark sweatshirt with a
An
white
unforgivable
do-rag on his
move in
head,
gang
standing in the
culture.
doorway.
That one robbery caused the empire to fracture into smaller cliques like Drill City, Mixed Mob, and Trey Mob.
I want Dig and Reddy Gary, I went with Bursky. And when all that shit, why would the fuck would somebody be what? First of all, what make y'all even think somebody gonna shoot at me? What the have I did for a nigga to shoot at me?
And from that split, new wars were born overnight. The newly formed Drill City quickly found themselves at odds with sets they used to rock with. Crews like A-Ray Mob and Hip Squad. Old friends became enemies. Blood turned into targets. And the chaos didn't stop there. Some of these opposing crews linked up with 9 to 5 Mob. The same Chicago set now connected to CTS Lil Wick and the St. Louis Goons who allegedly tried to kill Q50.
First, my brother gang. Stop all that, boy. I'm not into it, my brother, man. What's wrong with y'all, folks? My dead homie. That is my brother, gang. Yeah, never fall out over shit. I just was mad at folks for a little bit, that's all.
That's how deep the web goes. Chicago beef stretching into Missouri, alliances crossing state lines, and generations of street ties turning into ticking time bombs. Every set, every move, every diss track is part of a chain reaction that started long before Q50 ever picked up a mic. From Hit City to Drill City, from Lil Jeff to Lil Wick, the connections are endless and deadly. And if history's any indicator, this story isn't close to done. Because in the streets Q50 came from, loyalty and revenge are the same thing, and the cycle never stops spinning. Lil Jeff's story is one of those that explains exactly how a kid becomes a killer before he ever gets a chance to grow up. His older brother, Jay Boogie, was locked in with the Bloodhounds and tight with a street legend from Chris World named Kenny Mack, a name that carried weight across the South Side.
Only blood on my eyes on, do no recruiting. If I don't want to drive, nigga, I'm still shooting. I'm telling you outside while the car still move. I never crash out, little bitches, you stupid. Every update down, these niggas be loose. Smoke with a rack, I ain't doing no shoes. Take a nigga ice, he thought we was cool. Slide slow like Woozy, nigga, who is you, fool?
Kenny wasn't just some corner hustler. He was allegedly out here putting in real work, especially against TYNMB, one of the rival sets that had been sliding on their people for years. Word in the trenches was that Kenny Mac caught a body, a dude named Obama, and that move sparked an all-out war. The retaliation was brutal. The ops came back with vengeance, sliding on Kenny in broad daylight, and they didn't care who was around. They killed Kenny Mac right in front of Lil Jeff, who was just 11 years old at the time. Imagine that, being a kid and watching someone you look up to get dropped right in front of you. That kind of trauma doesn't fade. It molds you, hardens you, and for Jeff, it turned him into something the streets would later call a demon. In his own words, Jeff said that seeing Kenny die like that messed him up. That was the moment the switch flipped, the moment childhood ended. From that day on, violence was his only teacher. But here's the thing, Lil Jeff didn't start out wanting to be a shooter. Just like Q50, he once dreamed of escaping all this madness through basketball. He had hoop dreams, and used to talk about making it out the right way. But sophomore year came, and reality hit hard. He didn't make varsity. No scholarship, no backup plan. That rejection crushed whatever innocence was left. And when the court stopped calling, the streets started whispering his name louder than ever. By that time, he was already surrounded by Bloodhounds, and his cousin Bloodhound Money was starting to make noise in the booth. The music scene in Drill City was heating up, and Lil Jeff was there, hungry for his moment. One of the first times he was caught on camera was in the background of Z-Money's video, Gone MIA. He wasn't rapping yet, but the energy was there. That cold, blank stare said more than lyrics ever could. Then, in December 2021, Lil Jeff popped up again. This time in his brother J Boogie's video for Ends Green. It was around that time that Drill City, Chris World, and Trap City had formed a deadly alliance called EO6679, going to war with sets like Evans Mob, Hit Squad, and Trey Mob. That alliance meant bloodshed, and fast. According to street rumors, that beef led to Lil Jeff's first body. A dude from Trey Mob named Clay got shot and killed that same year. And some people claim Jeff pulled the trigger himself. There's no proof tying him directly to the hit, but other sources said it might have been Q50 and their homie Vert who did it together. Not long after Clay's death, the blood kept flowing. A guy named Ruga was gunned down in Drill City's hood, and while no one got booked, one of Clay's cousins allegedly self-snitched on Facebook, hinting that Ruga's murder was revenge. Bodies were falling like dominoes on both sides. Just a month later, Trey Mob lost another member named Lil Crew, who got shot and killed in the streets. Rumors swirled that Vert handled the hit to get back for Ruga's death, and Vert didn't exactly keep it low-key. He bragged about it on his track Pissed Me Off, rapping, "We just got get back for Ruga, so don't play like we some hoes." An op that's on the ground, they ask a rat, don't get exposed. "We lost, bro, but they lost for, had to creep up the score." Those weren't just lyrics. They were confessions dressed up as music. Then on his next track, Live or Die, Vert pushed it even further, basically self-snitching again with lines like, "We ridin' in them cars, we see ops, and that's another hit." He tried to play crazy with the Trey. That's another stick. "Fuck a Trey, Crew, and Clay, I got the brothers lit." It was clear by that point that Q50, Lil Jeff, and Vert were knee-deep in the streets. Their names were now tied to shootings, disses, and revenge cycles that had no end in sight. But instead of laying low, they turned to music, and used it as a weapon. By 2022, Lil Jeff officially jumped in the booth, and the results were explosive. He started rapping about everything that had gone down, names, sets, even real situations. The energy was raw, reckless, and viral. It was the kind of rap that made fans love him but made his enemies load up. At first, Q50 wasn't interested in rapping. He liked being in the shadows, letting Jeff shine. But even then, he couldn't resist the pull of the camera. In Jeff's first video, Q50 can be seen standing in the background, masked up in a COVID mask, barely moving, just watching. It was subtle, but everyone from the streets knew what it meant. He was co-signing it. Then a month later, everything spiraled again. Another hit went down, this time in November 2022. A dude from 9-5 Mob named Boogie was shot and killed outside of a McDonald's. According to reports, Boogie, his brother, and their mom had just pulled up to grab food when shots erupted. Witnesses said a car rolled by slow, then somebody jumped out and started letting off rounds, hitting Boogie multiple times before speeding away. And who were the names floating around the streets after the hit? Q50 and Lil Jeff. Word was that both cousins were allegedly on that mission together. making the McDonald's murder one of the most cold-blooded attacks linked to the Bloodhounds. By then, both of them had crossed the point of no return. Too famous to hide, too deep to walk away, and too dangerous to ignore. What started as revenge for one body had now turned into a full-blown gang war stretching from Drill City to St. Louis, with Q50 and Lil Jeff right in the center of the storm. Boogie's brother barely made it out alive, hit in the back, crawling for his life as bullets tore through the air. But Boogie was the main target, and he didn't stand a chance. The entire scene was chaos. Screams, shattered glass, flashing lights. The worst part? It all went down at the same McDonald's where Lil J had been shot years earlier in 2013. That spot was cursed from the start. Less than 2 weeks after Boogie's death, another shooting erupted at that exact McDonald's. Locals said it felt like bad luck was haunting the place, and the violence finally got so out of control that the franchise owner shut it down for good. The Golden Arches went dark, and in that neighborhood, everyone knew why. The cops never found out who did it. No witnesses spoke up, no arrests were made. But then, months later, Q50 hopped in the booth and dropped the most disrespectful bars of his entire career, allegedly snitching on himself in plain sight. On the track, Coffin, he rapped, "Nah, go pick your brother up, B-Ache." Now that's disrespect. F95 new pack coming next. Run up, get close, I'ma do it the best. That wasn't just a bar, it was a confession wrapped in rhythm. The line hit like a gunshot through the scene, and fans instantly started connecting the dots. The new pack Q50 mentioned? Everyone knew he was talking about Boogie, and he didn't stop there. On another track called Splash Bros, Q50 fired off more shots, literally and lyrically, saying, "That Glock 23 my favorite gun. I swear that B-keck some water. Since 9-5 want a troll, ask about McDonald's. That BH closed." He even brought up Boogie's mom, who was also grazed during the McDonald's shooting. In the same song, Q50 rapped, "I went up 8, Ennis know I'm a real deal clapper. His mama got hit, she was in the way. That kinda just happens." The coldness of it made jaws drop. No remorse, no filter, just pure audacity. But the line that sent chills through the entire drill scene was when Q50 described exactly how Boogie died. On the track 762, he rapped, "Glock 29 with a switch, and you know that bar and come with a grip. Please don't run, don't trip. That's how Boogie got his ass killed. Close McDonald's, I don't want to work shifts." It was as if he was daring the world to come for him. Fans were both shocked and mesmerized. Q50 wasn't just dissing his ops. He was narrating the war in real time. But retaliation came quick. A 9-5 mob member named Mark dropped a response track called "Get Even," spitting, "Slide through the 9, Bach we squeezin'. We took a loss. It's time to get even. For Boogie, Bach we blitzin'. I chase him down, he gon' blick him. Damn you, gang? Then my knocked stand over a hound. Kill him. We all shooters, we all gon' hit him." The message was loud and clear. This wasn't over. The 9-5 crew was promising revenge, and everyone in Chicago knew what that meant. Still, some people in the trenches claimed Q50 and Lil Jeff weren't the ones who actually hit Boogie. Others swore they were right there when it went down. Nobody knew for sure, and the cops stayed clueless. But whatever the truth was, it didn't matter anymore, because blood had already been spilled, and more was coming. Just a few months later, the Bloodhounds took a devastating hit of their own. Q50 and Jeff's cousin, C-Money, Z-Money, was shot and killed. That death split the entire movement in half. The loss of Z-Money didn't just hurt emotionally, it tore alliances apart. Trap City and Drill City, once united through the 06679 link-up, turned on each other almost overnight. Rumors spread fast. Word on the street was that it all started over something small, but deadly serious in the streets. A stolen chain. Some said Lil Jeff was the one who snatched the piece. Others claimed it was just one of his homies. Either way, Trap City wasn't letting that slide. Reports say they chased Jeff down, and that's when his crew retaliated, opening fire and turning a petty beef into all-out war. Later on, one of the dudes from Trap City, the same one rumored to have killed Jeff, confirmed in a live video that yes, the entire feud started over a chain, but he stayed silent on whether Jeff himself was the one who took it. Still, everyone in the trenches knew that kind of disrespect couldn't end peacefully. As for Z-Money's murder, no one was ever booked. But Q50 went on Instagram Live not long after and said the killer was locked up, adding coldly, "That's the only reason he's still breathing." That statement alone showed exactly how deep the pain ran, and how close revenge was to the surface. Jeff and Q50 were furious. They allegedly wanted blood for Z-Money and were rumored to be involved in the murder of a dude named Lil Poop shortly after. Then, they dropped the track "In Your Home," where Jeff made the connection crystal clear, rapping, "Lil Poop, DZ, now Lil Po gone. You know that say, never takes too long." Those words hit like an explosion. In a single bar, Jeff had confirmed what everyone feared, that Z-Money's death had triggered another killing. The score was being evened out, one by one. By that point, music and murder had become the same language for these young men. Each track was an obituary, each verse a warning, each live session a potential confession. And even though fans treated it like entertainment, those who really knew the streets understood. The bodies were real, and the pain behind the beats was even realer. What started as rap beef was now full-blown warfare. Chicago to St. Louis, Bloodhounds vs. 9-5 Mob, and too many graves in between. And if there's one thing everyone agreed on, it's that as long as Q50 kept talking like this on wax, the streets weren't done talking back. The streets were still hot after Lil Poop's death. And though the rumors pointed at Q50 and Lil Jeff, there was no solid proof they were behind it. Q50's name carried weight in every corner of the city, so anything that went down was automatically blamed on him. But this time, even some insiders pushed back. Pooh's homie Lou Glock went online saying, "Ain't nobody from Bloodhouse touch Lil Poop." Still, nobody really believed it. The tension was so thick you could feel it through the city's air, and revenge was on everyone's mind. Around that same time, things took a wild turn. Q50 got shot. It happened fast, and details were scarce. No police report, no witnesses speaking up, just whispers and live posts hinting at what went down. The only thing everyone knew was that Q50 had been hit in the leg during a late-night altercation. But instead of laying low, he did what he always does, turned the pain into bars. On his track Coffin, Q50 bragged about the shooting like it was nothing. Lil leg shot, it wasn't shti. I jump out when I shoot, I don't miss. Yo homie, he dead, he rest in pits. When I'm out here, it's 50 in the switch. Then, on 762, he doubled down, mocking the rumors about his death. I got shot in the leg. They said I died. Thought he seen a ghost when I popped on live. That line went viral instantly. Fans couldn't believe his audacity. He turned surviving a hit into a punchline, laughing off the pain like it was part of his brand. But the Bloodhounds weren't laughing. They were plotting. Word in the streets was that Bloodhounds slid back on Trap City a few weeks later. Their target? A dude named Lil Leo. According to reports, Leo was getting into a rideshare when masked gunmen ran up and started dumping shots into the car. The attack was surgical, fast, loud, and over in seconds. Then came the flood of disses. Lil Jeff and Q50 turned Leo's death into bars before the body was even buried. On the track, No Tomorrow, they went savage. Q50 jump out all black. Gen 532, that's a shack attack. Try to run, hit that nah in his back. Lasna from the 7, call him Uberpack. The disrespect didn't stop there. On Make It Bar, Q50 twisted the knife deeper, spitting, Nas slid, shot up the crib. Ask what happened next. All he seen was 3 Nas pop out, masked up, blowing Nike techs. Whoever sent that boy lift, ask him, did he make it back? Fans couldn't believe what they were hearing. He wasn't just naming his ops. He was describing the exact scene like a war journalist with a mic. And just when people thought it couldn't get darker, Q50 dropped Splash Bros and claimed that he and Jeff personally handled the hit. 7.62s out the drac. They hurt. They fucked Lil up! By that point, every track felt like an obituary. The disrespect was unmatched. Then came August 2023, when the war reached another level. An OG from Trap City named Glenn got shot at a gas station. He survived, but barely, and the whispers started again. Everyone said Q50 and Lil Jeff were the ones who caught him slipping. The streets were buzzing, and not long after, Jeff might have confirmed it himself. On his track Stretched, Jeff rapped, he got caught lacking at the store, tried to run, but you know he too slow. 5 shots, he stretching the dope, then Lil Uz gave him 10 mo. The numbers matched the rumor perfectly. Then, when Q50 jumped back on Splash Bros, he mirrored Jeff's confession bar for bar. We really be stepping on she. That and tried to run, he fall, he fed. I gave him 10, Jeff gave him 5. I guess that wasn't enough. Those lines set social media on fire. Bloggers called it the most reckless self-snitch in drill history, while others said it was just artistic exaggeration. But no matter how people spun it, one thing was clear. The Bloodhounds were fearless, and they weren't hiding a thing. Q50 kept the same energy on In Your Home when he dropped another name. We pull up, say the shots, it's your lips, we gon' spin and spin again. Left on the floor, I'm talking about Glenn. Then, on 762, he bragged again with the same tone of pride and menace. I'm up 8. It would have been 10 if it wasn't for Spoonie, if it wasn't for Glenn. Each song was darker, more specific, more detailed than the last, like he was narrating his own documentary in real time. And yet, somehow, instead of staying quiet, Q50's popularity only grew. The more he trolled, the more people tuned in. Still, what really defined the Bloodhounds' street legacy wasn't just the shootings, it was their obsession with chain snatching. That was their signature move, their way of flexing dominance in the most humiliating way possible. They didn't just take jewelry, they made a show out of it. One time, Q50 and Jeff allegedly robbed a dude named 6300 Brito, who thought he was just pulling up to buy some weed. Instead, he got stripped, robbed, and left empty-handed. And as if that wasn't enough, they immediately went live on Instagram, flashing the chain and clowning Brito in front of thousands. Q50 could be heard laughing on camera, saying, "You wanted some gas? Nah, we wanted your neck piece, goofy." The clip went viral across Chicago pages, and the humiliation spread like wildfire. For the Bloodhounds, it wasn't just about robbery, it was psychological warfare. Every chain snatched was another statement to their ops. We control the streets, the stories, and the spotlight. And every time they did it, the tension climbed higher, the threats louder, and the list of enemies longer. By late 2023, Q50 and Lil Jeff weren't just rappers anymore. They were living, breathing symbols of chaos. The legends that made their names infamous weren't written on plaques or awards. They were carved in concrete, inked in obituaries, and screamed through every diss track they dropped. And as their fame kept rising, one thing was certain. Every bar, every post, every chain they snatched was pushing them closer to a line that no one comes back from. The Bloodhounds were running wild across the city, and at this point, it seemed like Q50 had made enemies everywhere. Instead of cooling down after all the chaos, he did what he always did. Turned every beef into another record. On one of his new dices, Q50 bragged about his reputation for chain snatching, dropping lines that made the internet explode. "I done took so many Cubans, I love snatching Shaychi off necks. AP on my wrist, that's 41, cost a brick. Ask Brito where he took the Raleigh, we smacked him in his baha." He wasn't just rapping, he was naming names. The Brito robbery had already started a small war, but now Q50 was calling out Rito, a rapper from the West Side who repped a set called TMC. Before the chain incident, TMC had nothing to do with the Bloodhound beef. They were neutral, just doing their own thing. But that changed overnight. After Brito got robbed, Rito and his homie ISN jumped online and started dissing the Bloodhounds, clowning them in lives and dropping subtle bars. The disrespect didn't sit right with Q50's crew. That's when everything turned deadly. Word spread that the Bloodhounds slid on TMC, targeting one of their members named Sly in Retaliation. A few weeks later, someone went live on Sly's Instagram, but it was eerie. The person never showed their face. The camera stayed pointed at the ground while voices in the background talked in code. Fans flooded the comments asking where Sly was, but no one answered. Then Lil Jeff jumped online saying he hadn't heard from Sly in days, and that Sly had crashed into a crib. Jeff claimed the dude was on life support after getting shot up during the hit. Not long after, Q50 went on Facebook, flexing his survival once again. He posted, "Up 8 hats on my eye," meaning he was 8 bodies up on his ops, a number that made people's stomachs drop. Then he doubled down in his now infamous track, Splash Bros, spitting, "Sly got his sheet busted a month ago. His ass ain't talking." At this point, Lil Jeff and Q50 had the streets on lock. They were applying pressure non-stop, spinning blocks and dropping disses faster than the cops could write reports. But everybody in the trenches knows, you keep moving reckless long enough, the streets will catch up. And when it came, it hit hard. That's how Lil Jeff ended up dead. Reports say Jeff and a few other Bloodhounds rolled into Trap City's territory late one night, sliding with switches and Glocks, ready for payback. Q50 was allegedly there too, but this time, things didn't go their way. The crew started letting off shots near a house when one of the Trap City dudes ran inside for cover. Jeff chased him, heart racing, ready to finish the job, but he didn't realize what was waiting inside. As soon as Jeff hit the doorway, someone inside opened fire, unloading clip after clip. Jeff got hit 19 times in the chest, collapsing right there in front of the crib. By the time his boys dragged him out, he was already gone. The city went silent that night. Everyone knew this wasn't just another body. It was the fall of a Chicago street legend in the making. After Lil Jeff's death, Q50 changed completely. The trolling stopped for a while. The IG lives turned darker. He started taking rap seriously, using the mic to vent instead of just antagonize. He began dropping songs back to back, airing out ops in every verse like he was trying to talk to Jeff through the booth. But the pain didn't stop there, because 1 month later, tragedy struck again. In July 2023, Lil Scum, another close bloodhound and rumored cousin of Q50, was shot and killed at a house on the east side. Doorbell camera footage showed Scum arriving with a woman late that night. laughing, relaxed, completely unaware of what was coming. Hours later, neighbors heard gunfire, and then silence. Police were called around 2 a.m. When they arrived, they found Lil Scum lifeless inside the home, multiple gunshot wounds to the chest. But what really shook people was what happened next. When the cops pulled up, the shooter was still there. Reports say the gunman opened fire on police, hitting one of their cruisers before running off into the night. Officers chased him down a few blocks away while he was reloading his weapon. But somehow, he still got away. The city was in disbelief. 2 bodies in a month. 2 key members of the Bloodhounds gone just like that. Then the rumors started to swirl like wildfire. People claimed the woman Scum had been with set him up. A girl known as Nini, who'd been spotted with him days before the shooting. Word on the street was that she lured him to that house, knowing the hit was coming. The whispers got so loud that Nini allegedly had to flee Chicago before the Bloodhounds caught up with her. And it wasn't the first time Scum hinted at betrayal. On his track Signs, he foreshadowed the entire thing, rapping, "God been showing me signs, these numbers telling me watch for your homies. Everybody want me to lose. This love ain't real. Ain't surprised if this beat could do me." Those lyrics hit different after his death. The song became prophetic, proof that even he knew the danger was coming. Nobody knows for sure who pulled the trigger, but many in the streets pointed fingers at Risky Rodo, a known rival with a long-standing beef against the Bloodhounds. Rodo had his own deadly reputation. He'd already survived multiple shootouts and had connections with risky bands. Another figure known to be at odds with Q50's camp. With Lil Scum gone, Jeff gone, and ops circling from every side, Q50 became the last man standing at the center of a blood-soaked war. He had lost nearly everyone close to him, yet somehow he refused to slow down. Instead, he got more dangerous, more unpredictable, more viral. Every time people thought he was finished, he'd drop another track, another diss, another video, each one darker than the last. And as much as the fans loved the chaos, everyone in the trenches whispered the same thing. If Q50 keeps living like this, it's only a matter of time before the streets come calling again. Because in Chicago, every bullet has a return address, and Q50's name was written on too many of them. Right before Lil Scum was murdered, the tension between the Bloodhounds and Risky Road had already reached boiling point. Sources say it all started when Scum dropped a few disrespectful bars about Lil 30, a fallen Risky Road affiliate. That one diss track was enough to ignite a street war that would leave multiple bodies behind. Risky Rodo, one of the most feared names in his set, took it personal. He allegedly hopped on Instagram, calling out Q50 directly, warning that anyone speaking on their dead would get turned into one. The beef went from subliminals to flat-out death threats within hours. Then, when Lil Scum got gunned down, the Risky Road crew wasted no time making their presence known. Just a few hours after his death, they were online posting photos of Lil 30, captioning it with warnings like, "Play with 30 and get buried with him." It was clear. They were claiming that hit loud and proud. According to street whispers, a Risky Road member named Turbo was allegedly one of the shooters who took out Lil Scum. And the wildest part? He basically self-snitched online. A fan, pretending to run a memorial page for Lil 30, managed to DM Turbo and get him talking way too much. Screenshots later leaked showing Turbo bragging about how the mission went, practically confirming what everyone suspected. But Risky Road wasn't done flexing yet. They wanted to send an even louder message. That's when everything went completely sideways. By September 2024, the crew decided to slide on the Bloodhounds again. This time, CEO Hawk, a major Risky Road name and one of their top shooters, led the charge. The plan was simple: catch Q50 lacking and leave no witnesses. Hawk was hanging, halfway out the window with a gun ready. But what he didn't know was that the Bloodhounds were ready for the smoke. As their car pulled up, a single shot cracked through the air. Headshot, one, and done. Hawk didn't even get a chance to pull the trigger. Rumors spread immediately that Q50 himself was the one who fired the fatal shot, allegedly dropping Hawk on sight. Then, Q50 did what he always does. He turned the streets into lyrics. On his track, King Draco, he rapped with pure menace. "I was up in the mill, put the dumps on Fetty. Robin Anna's out there flexin'. Chat vanish mode, these hoes be messy. Rookie ass nah, Risky Road wasn't ready. Head tap, turned his ass to a veggie." The crowd went insane. He wasn't hiding behind metaphors, he was naming the play. Everyone knew what he meant. Q50 had just immortalized the death of CEO Hawk in rhyme form, and the song spread like wildfire across social media. But that move made his situation even more dangerous. Risky Road was furious, and now Q50's name was written on their hit list in all caps. The shooters wanted revenge so bad they didn't care who got in the way. That's when the situation escalated to near tragedy. Q50 had recently done a vlog session with YouTuber Brandon Buckingham, a well-known content creator who'd been documenting drill culture. They filmed inside a studio with the Bloodhounds, laughing, vibing, acting like the war outside didn't exist. But that night, reality came crashing back. When Brandon and his crew left the studio, Risky Road shooters were waiting outside. Cars idling with headlights off, guns loaded, eyes scanning for their target. The second they stepped out, shots exploded. Through the night, bullets tore through the parking lot as everyone ducked for cover. Brandon's cameraman got grazed in the neck, just inches away from being another casualty of this endless war. Witnesses said he screamed, "I got hit! I got hit!" as blood poured down his shoulder. If that bullet had flown an inch closer, it would have been a fatal shot. And he wasn't the only one. A Philly rapper named Skrilla, who happened to be in the studio that night, was also shot. He had no ties to Q50, Risky Road, or the Bloodhounds. He was just caught in the crossfire. After recovering, Skrilla dropped a response track titled Shot Rack, taking aim right back at Risky Road. His lyrics were cold and raw. Hop out and blitz, trying to Troy Polamalu, Ray Lewis, Risky Road. And did you see up on the news, who done got clapped today? Heard a nen. I got head tapped, and he done passed away. It was a chaotic moment. Rappers, YouTubers, and civilians all caught in the middle of a war that refused to die. Q50 tried to downplay his involvement, later appearing on No Jumper to clear his name. Sitting calmly in the interview chair, he told the hosts, "I wasn't even with Brandon or Skrilla when that happened." His tone was cool, almost too casual, but people who knew the streets understood what he was really doing. Keeping business off the internet. Still, the streets don't care about interviews or PR statements. The rumors started spreading anyway. People said the shooters weren't even looking for Brandon or Skrilla. They were gunning for Q50 that night, and he barely dodged death. Again, some claimed he'd gotten a heads up and left the studio just 10 minutes before the ambush. Others whispered that he was still there but escaped out a side door when the shots rang out. Either way, one thing was certain. Q50 had become public enemy number one for every rival set in Chicago. He'd survived hits, lost friends, and made enemies in multiple cities, all while taunting everyone on record. Every bar he spit felt like a new death threat waiting to be answered. And as 2024 rolled deeper into chaos, everyone watching from the outside couldn't help but wonder, how long can someone keep surviving this kind of heat? Because in the streets of Chicago, legends rise fast, but they fall even faster. And for Q50, every diss track, every head tap, every live session was another spin of the roulette wheel, one that could stop on his name at any second. By early 2025, fans started noticing cracks in the Bloodhound empire. The once tight circle that Q50 built around himself began to crumble. And the first signs came when people realized Q50 had unfollowed Vert on Instagram. It might not sound like much, but in the streets and the drill scene, that's a loud move. The second fans saw it, comment sections exploded. Speculation everywhere. Is Q50 beefing with Vert? What happened to the Bloodhound brothers? Then Vert himself confirmed something was off. He posted a cryptic message on his story saying he ain't got no manager no more. That set the internet on fire because Q50 and Vert had shared the same manager for years. Losing that connection was like watching family business turn sour in real time. Insiders started whispering that the fallout ran deeper than social media. Some claimed the tension started because Vert was still cool with his old homies from Trap City, the same set that's been at war with the Bloodhounds since Lil Jeff's death. See, Vert's background made the situation complicated. He repped Trap City and Drill City, two sets that were once linked up before everything turned violent. When those alliances broke, Vert lost friends on both sides. He'd watched people he grew up with die, and it was tearing him apart. Then, a leaked phone call hit the internet. A call allegedly between Vert and the late Lil Jeff. In it, Vert could be heard saying he missed Trap City and wished things hadn't gone so far. The call spread fast, and fans took it as proof that Vert still had loyalty to the other side. That was all the internet needed to crown Q50 versus Vert as Chicago's next big internal war. But Q50 tried to cool things down before it got out of hand. He hopped on Instagram Live, brushing off the rumors and saying, "I could never fall out with Vert. That's my dog. "We just had a Lil disagreement." He sounded calm, but fans weren't convinced. Too much energy, too many shots online. It didn't look like just a disagreement. Still, for a moment, things went quiet. Maybe the two were good. Maybe the Bloodhounds were stable again. But then, Q50 did what Q50 always does. He found new enemies. By mid-2025, Q50 started dissing FBG, the infamous set from the South Side known for its long history with the BDs and O Block. He called out names like Wooski, FBG Duck, and Brick, legends in the drill world. Nobody could believe it. Q50 wasn't even active during their prime era. He was just a kid when they ran the city. But that didn't stop him from opening old wounds. On one of his new tracks, he threw out blatant disrespect, mocking their fallen members and claiming that FBG been quiet since Duck died. It was the kind of move that even OGs said was reckless. Because yeah, FBG might not be as loud these days, but their shooters still exist, and they don't forget disrespect. Even people close to Q50 started worrying. His own supporters were saying he was pushing his luck too far. Every new diss, every video, every taunt was stacking up bodies and enemies like a hit list waiting to cash out. Still, Q50 kept his same energy. He bragged constantly about being up 8 hats on the ops, meaning he'd already taken out 8 people and was still counting. He talked like he was untouchable, like the city couldn't touch him no matter what, but the videos told a different story. Lately, Q50's been looking tired. The same kid who once had unshakable energy now goes live nodding off mid-sentence, snorting perks on camera, and even falling asleep in traffic. Fans who used to hype him up started flooding the comments with concern. They were watching his spiral play out in real time, and nobody could stop it. The people who really knew him say the fame changed him, but the streets broke him. The paranoia, the revenge, the trauma, all of it was catching up fast. Every person he'd lost, Lil Jeff, Lil Scum, C-Money, they weren't just names in songs. They were ghosts in his head, whispering that he might be next. And that's the heartbreaking truth of Q50's story. Beneath the bravado and the viral tracks is a kid who saw too much, lost too much, and never got the chance to heal. He could make it out if he wanted to. His buzz is strong, his music's catching traction, and people outside the streets are starting to notice his raw talent. If he focused on the booth, if he turned all that pain into art, he could become one of the biggest breakout stars to come from the Midwest drill scene in years. But if he keeps playing both sides, trying to be a rapper and a soldier, the streets are gonna claim him like they did everyone before. Him, because in Chicago, the story never changes. You either make it out, or you make the news. Q50's got one last chance to decide which one he wants to be.